Hello guys, what's going on? Akshay JH here and welcome back to another tutorial. Now this is basically a series for mastering Adobe XD. If you guys are not familiar with Adobe XD, it is basically a UI designing tool that we usually use for our apps and websites. Now this is getting famous with time. Previously one major tool was used in UI designing, that was Sketch. The only limitation for Sketch is that it's only available for Mac systems, not for Windows. So we have to use some alternative for Windows, and previously we used to use Photoshop or Illustrator for that. But now since Adobe has launched a special tool for UI designing, so we are gonna use Adobe XD. So as you can see, this is Adobe XD and yours may look a little different, as if the version matters over here, because with each version they changed the UI a little bit, but mostly the whole features will be a lot similar. All right, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so once you first open up Adobe XD, it will look something like this. Now for those who are using Photoshop previously, this may be a lot easier for you, but for those who are beginners, this is the tutorial for you guys, because we're going to cover from basics. We're going to start working from scratch and we're going to build our UIs. Mostly we will cover Android, iOS designs, and later we will go with web as well. As we proceed with the intermediate level or advanced level, then we will do the web as well, because starting off with smaller screens with less content is a lot easier than a bigger screen and with more content on it. So we will go from basics to, and the advice here is to go from smaller screens to the larger one with little content. So the main UI of Adobe XD may something look like this when you first open up. Obviously you may not see this the recent files over here, because these are something that I've designed in very recent past. All right, we also do development for Android app and web apps. So if you are into that kind of thing, there is a channel for that. TVAC Studio is the name. You guys can check that out. The link will be in description. All right, so the screen basically displays a few things: the design, prototype, share. Yeah, we know that we can design and we can create prototypes, and if you don't know what prototypes are, I'll be covering that real soon. And then it shows us a few templates, predefined templates that you can use to get started with. I mean, these are not actually templates, these are blank screens, the sizes that you can get from here. All right, so if you are designing for iPhone 6 and 7, you can choose this. If you are designing for iPad or web, or if you are designing for some other custom screen, you can define it by yourself using this custom size over here. Anyways, so at the bottom it says explore the basics, begin tutorial, and then we have some UI kits and some resources. Also, you can open up some previous document that you have created or some document that you have downloaded from internet. So what we are going to do is we're going to start with this begin tutorial. I'm going to show you how we can first pan and navigate. So you click on that and it'll take a little bit of time, but it will load up right over here, and you just maximize it to go to the full screen. Okay, so we got a few components over here. You cannot see it by just like that because they are not zoomed in. They are quite tiny components. Actually, they are not quite tiny, they are pretty large components, but the canvas, this whole canvas is zoomed out a lot, so we cannot see it right then. Anyways, let me introduce you to the UI of Adobe XD. At the top we have the top bar where we can close, maximize or minimize the Adobe XD, and in Mac it will obviously will be at the wrong place. I mean, that's not the wrong place, but opposite side. Okay, then we have this menu bar, this hamburger icon that represent menu. This is file menu, you can call it, because it contains a lot of features. If you have used Notepad, Paint, they have somewhere similar to this, but not exactly like this. Basically we have new, open, recent, save as, and stuff like that. All right, so let's not worry about that. Then we have two tabs. One is the design tab and a prototype tab. Okay, so what exactly is a prototype? I'm still not going to tell you right now. All right, let's just stay in design tab for now. and when we will create prototypes, I'll tell you what prototypes are. Then we have name of the document. So by default the name is XD tutorial, and for our own documents we will change that. Then on right hand side we have a few stuffs that we should not worry about for right now, but here you can see that it represents a number. It shows us a number. In my case it is 9.3%, but in your screen it will be totally different, because this is the zoom level, the zoom amount that the document is currently zoomed in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that and I'm going to choose 100%. That means we are right now at the, according to the display, it will choose the exact size of those documents and it will show us the exact zoom and how they will look on different screen as compared to this one. Now as right now you cannot see where those documents are, because they just slided off the screen. Okay, so how to get back? This is the canvas area. You will see all the UI design right over here, but you cannot see it right now. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to, let's say this was 9%. I'm going to go to 9%. Okay, so we see them right over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold space key on my keyboard and I'm going to click drag. So that'll basically be for pan. We can pan around the documents using space and click and hold. All right, space, hold and click and drag. Okay, so we can pan anywhere we want. Okay, you don't need to click on some specific document. You can click anywhere. You can start panning using the space hold. All right, then now let's just keep them in center and now try to zoom in 100%, and here you can see that it just zooms into that, and now we can pan around using again the space hold and just like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, now this is too large for the display, so we cannot see everything properly. I'm going to go a little bit down, let's say 50%. That's a lot better. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, at the top it says navigating Adobe XD. To zoom, 2-finger pinch trackpad or Control plus minus or Control 3 to zoom to a selection. Now basically what it is trying to say, how you can zoom in. We already looked at one method of zooming in, but this is not actually how we want to work, because this is pretty slow process and we don't want to use that. So if you are on a Mac or a laptop, the trackpad is basically the tool that you can zoom in and zoom out. All you need to do is use your fingers, just like you use on a normal image to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, so that'll work right over here as well. But if you are on mouse or Windows, or if you are using just mouse, what you can do is you can hold the Alt key and you can use the scroll key to zoom in and zoom out. Now here you are gonna notice that wherever your mouse pointer is, it will keep that point at the center and it will zoom around it. So if I keep my mouse at this little document over here, all right, and if I start zooming in, as you can see that I'm going to keep my mouse to this one and Alt and zoom in, you're going to see that it keeps that point at center and it will start zooming around it. All right, so that is what this Alt and zoom does. Now this is basically the most shortest and fastest way to zoom in and zoom out, and I would advise you guys to use this method instead of using the Control plus and Control minus that it says right over here, which is gonna take quite a time to zoom in and out. Anyways, not worry about that right now. Also you can pan, it shows us use trackpad or use spacebar, which is what we are going to do. And in trackpad all you need to do is use your 2 fingers to swipe here and there, and it will just basically pan, okay, in the document. Another way that they have described is Control plus 3 to zoom in to a selection. Now how you can zoom into a selection is just, they have written it right over here, and all you need to do is you need to make sure that you select anything. Now to select anything, you just point your cursor to it and you click on that, and it will select that part, and you can press Control 3 and it will zoom exactly to that part. Right, let's say for example I click over here, so the selection is, as you can see, around the borders. It creates a little border with some dots, and right now it has one lock icon. That means this is right now locked, we cannot edit it, but I'm going to show you that later. So you just press Control 3 and it will zoom right that right to that selection, right? It basically means it's just focus on that. Okay, so the very first thing that I would advise you guys is to get used to the shortcuts. Navigation is pretty much the key now here for to speed up your workflow. If your navigation sucks, I mean if you navigate slowly, that basically means the whole workflow will be quite slower. So you need to get used to it before even getting starting to it. I mean, you'll get used to it along with the practices, but you need to keep that in mind, how you can zoom faster, pan around some area and stuff like that. Anyways, so here they have explained zoom in to start. So here we zoom in and this shows us something like that: preview current design, some splash screen, blog post, and we don't want any of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here and I'm going to click on new document. Now we're going to create our own document. We're not going to use this one to go through the tutorials. You just click on the hamburger icon, you click on new, and it will pop out one more document for Adobe XD. And this time what we are going to do is I'm going to click on this custom size. Okay, so you click on that, it opens up a blank canvas for you, and you just maximize it, and here we have it, a plain white canvas with nothing on it. Basically this is just the UI where you want to start working with. Okay, so how do we create a new document? I mean, how do we create a new screen where we can create our buttons and text and images and stuff? Okay, so to do that, as you can see on the left hand side, there are a few tools. Now these are the only tools that you will require to create the whole UI. In Photoshop there are quite a lot of tools, and that's basically for different purpose. But in Adobe XD, the tools that are only used, I mean, these are the tools that you'll only need when you are UI designing. Basically you won't need any other tool for like 95% of time, but sometimes you need to go to Photoshop to edit some image, or to even to illustration to create some illustration. I mean Illustrator to create some illustration. All right, so what we are going to do right now is I'm going to explain you what these tools are. So first of all, it says select tool, rectangle tool, owl, the ellipse, the line, pen, text, artboard, and zoom. Okay, so I told you what these tools are, but anyways, the explanation is one by one. I'm going to explain you these tools. Okay, so first of all, before anything, we are going to use this artboard tool. Now what is this artboard tool? The shortcut is written right next to the name, so if you hover over there, it's going to show you the name of the tool plus the shortcut, which is A key. So I would always advise you guys to use shortcuts instead of going over to that place and clicking on that. That'll basically again slow down your workflow a little, but if you want to be like super fast in UI designing, you need to use shortcuts. All right, so I'm going to use shortcut. I'm going to press A key on keyboard, and that, as you can see, that it highlights that artboard tool with that blue icon. That means we have selected artboard tool. Okay, now you may not see this area right over here by default. Okay, the reason here is you need to toggle this layers panel. For now I'm going to switch it off, so if I click on that, it just goes invisible. That means we have switched off that layers panel. Anyways, our name of document is untitled, and by selecting the artboard tool on the right hand side, you're going to see a list of devices. So Apple devices, iPhone 6, 7 Plus, 6, 7, and a few more. Then we have the Google devices, then we have Surface Pro, and the web devices. Okay, so for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Google design, the Android mobile design. So I'm going to click on that, and what it does is it creates a new artboard. An artboard is basically a page of an app. Say for example, your app has 10 pages, so you need to create 10 artboards to create those pages over here, to design those pages. Basically that is what this means. Artboard represents a single page of any app or a website as well. Okay, so it just creates a new artboard that says Android mobile 1. Okay, so if I click anywhere except for this one, if I click anywhere on the canvas, what it will do is it will create one more artboard. If I do that again, it will do one more, it will create one more artboard. Now if you want to undo something, the shortcut is pretty simple and similar to any other app, which is Control Z on the keyboard, and it will undo, again undo that. So space to navigate, pan around the canvas. Okay, so we got the artboard over here. If I click anywhere, it just creates the artboard. That's because we have selected the artboard tool. Now you need, by default, you should always select the move tool, the select tool. The shortcut is V. And why is that? Is because it will help you to select anything. Say for example, if I select an artboard, if I click on canvas, it creates a new artboard. If I want to select the previous artboard, I would probably click on that, but clicking on that just creates another artboard. Undo. Okay, now to select anything in your canvas area, you need this select tool, right? You need to select that select tool and you click on any canvas and it will select that for you. All right, so you click on any artboard and it will select that artboard for you. Okay, so if I select, let's say artboard 1, if your XD doesn't select artboard by clicking on it, that means you have some content in it. And what you need to do is you need to click on the name over the canvas, over the artboard. Okay, so you can also click on the name of the artboard and you can select that. Okay, right after selecting the artboard, on the right hand side we're going to see a lot of options, and these are basically the controls that you can change by, let's say if I want to change the width and height of this page. So how we can do that is by simply going to this area which says W and H, which represents width and height. All right, it goes 0, and the reason here is I deselected the artboard by clicking on this empty area in the canvas. Now I can select back the artboard by clicking over here, and what I can do is I can change the width. Let's say I want 400 to be the width, which I won't recommend when you are designing for Android or iOS. The default ones are pretty much that you'll need. Okay, so if I type something and hit enter, it will just increase the width of that artboard. All right, I'm going to Control Z to undo that step that we did right over here, and same goes for the height. Height can be changed according to some conditions, also width can be changed, but those things are for later parts. Right now what I want you guys to know is that this is how you can create artboards in your canvas area, also how you can rename them. Renaming is pretty easy. All you need to do is just double click on the name of the artboard and you can name them whatever you want. Say this is a home page and I want this to be a login page. Okay, so that's how you can create different artboards and in your Adobe XD, and we will go step by step. If this feels a lot slower for you, then these are tutorials for the beginners again, so we need to go slower. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few things. Let me open up my browser. So if you want to be a designer, one thing you need to know that you need to take reference from a lot of things, a lot of previously designed works from different artists. You need to take references in beginning. You can't design everything by your own by just in the beginning, because that will be like literally impossible. You need to know what kind of design what kind of modern design is going on, what kind of fonts people use, what kind of buttons people create. You need to first take reference and try to create something similar to that. Then you can come up with your own idea and you can create your own designs as well. So that's how I would advise you guys to go for right now. But if you guys want to create something of your own, you are totally welcome to it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest you some websites, and from where you can try to take reference for your UI designs. So first one is going to be Dribble. So all you need to do is search for Dribble. There is triple B in that. Dribble.com is very famous websites where some popular artists upload their works, and similar to that is also Behance. You can create your own portfolio over there. And okay, so Behance is very similar website as well, but here you can create your own portfolio, which is quite easy. But as on Dribble, you need invite to upload your designs. So all you need to do is search for UI design, and it will bring a few results for you. Now, and you don't need to search UI design exactly, you can search any kind of design you want, and it will probably give you the better results that you are looking for. Same goes for Behance. If I click on this search and I say UI design, and okay, so it opens up some works that are done by some other artists, and you can take reference from them. All right, so let's say, for example, in this page there are quite a lot of designs. I'm going to check some very simple one. Okay, let's say just let's look for a pretty neat login page. So I search login UI. So in an app where most of the apps requires login page, so let's search for login page. Okay, and let's take a look at this one. So this is not a login page, this is basically get started page, but you can see that the UI design is pretty neat and is really good. That's kind of stuff that we're talking about. Okay, let's say this one. This is another sign in UI design. Sign in, we have the username field, the password field, the login button, some icons. I mean, we don't pretty much understand what those icons mean, but that is one UI over there. Another sign in UI which we got right over here. We can press the type in the email, password, register, sign in, connect with Facebook. Same goes for Dribble. You're gonna get a lot of UI designs which are pretty awesome. If you look at over here, okay, so we see the Google Map type. This is a map app. I'm going to show you my work instead of these, because that'll be a lot better. I'm going to search TVAC Studio. Okay, so searching TVAC Studio. Okay, we got a lot of designs done by me. This is the one I'm going to show you, Premium TVAC UI kit. All right, so this was a kit I designed quite a long time ago. Not so long, I guess, 2016 July. Okay, so this was UI design. So this is social UI, where this is kind of like a blog app but with chat features and all. Here is a chat page, then we have tabs, stuff like that. Similarly to going through the same theme, the same colors, I designed multiple apps. This was a multimedia song app, also contains recording, also videos, camera. I mean, this is multimedia app, so there are different pages for different apps, like camera app, music app, a recording app, like that. Okay, video player as well. Also a blog app. This is the one where you can see the list of blogs. All right, you can swipe through them, you can browse different categories, open up those blogs. E-commerce website as well, where we have men's collection, women's collection. Okay, so we can, this is like a single product, you view, you choose color, size, you add to bag. Also here how you can choose the color and size, how you can make payments. So these are basically the UI designs that I created a while ago, and I'm just gonna advise you guys to check some really good UI designs and all. And what we are going to do right now is we are going to work with a very simple login page, and I'm going to show you how you can use these tools to create different elements for your app. And I think this is pretty much enough for first part, and I'll see you guys in the next one, where we will start working with different tools and start creating some elements. And I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. You can leave a like and comment in our video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.